us what compost is exactly.
Sure. And we're going to start right here in the kitchen with my compost bin. And in here is stuff that we don't use anymore, like old coffee filters, like bits of vegetables that are left over from old meals, like carrot trimmings, like leftover lettuce, or any food that doesn't get used goes into the bin.
Great.
And then it gets turned into nutritional material for my garden or any soil that needs the kind of fertility and organic matter that this is going to turn into. You can use a plastic tub, you can use anything, a crock, a pot. Usually a lid is good, especially in the summer, because it'll help keep everything contained. Okay, we're going to go through here a little bit. I mean, lots of eggshells.
Right.
And I crunch them up because surprisingly the eggshells will last a long time. Here's a whole bunch of crunched up eggshells. That'll help speed them up.
Great.
But no, there's really nothing that you can't put in there. Just things that don't break down quickly, sometimes I like to avoid. Avocado skins. They seem to last forever in the compost pile, so I sometimes throw those out.
All right.
And always try to avoid the little sticky labels on your apple peelings or whatever.
Good point. Right.
Because they won't break down.
No.
So any organic matter that's, you know, fresh vegetables, stuff from your kitchen, plant trimmings if you have house plants.
How quickly do you fill up your jar?
So we're mostly vegetarian diet, so we go through a lot of vegetable stuff. And I would say I take this out to the compost pile 4 times a week, maybe 3 times a week.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So a small family that doesn't eat a lot of vegetables, you might want to take it out twice a week.
All right.
Just to, you know, so it doesn't get too goopy in there. We put anything into it. We put citrus in. If we happen to have little bits of leftover fish, which we sometimes have, that goes.
If you ate meat, would you
If it wasn't too much of it and the bones weren't a lot of bones. But the problem with meats is that they tend to attract animals that are drawn to that, like dogs and skunks and other things that like meat. But as you'll see, my compost bin outside is covered, so they couldn't get to it anyway. But even meat and bones will eventually break down into nothing. The only thing we don't put in here, actually, we try to avoid avocado pits because they take forever. But we have to go outside so you can see what happens to this next.
Okay. So here we are in Tim's backyard. Going through the gate with the composter. Thank you, Tim.
Out by the driveway.
Yep. And I actually have never seen your compost bin.
My compost bin. So one of the things that I do is I keep it covered so that the squirrels don't get in there and take things out and take them over into my neighbor's yard.
Okay, that's
important. That's kind of a refinement. But even if you don't need to worry about that.
Now, did you build this, Tim? I'm sorry.
I built it out of these, a kit made of, I don't know if you can see these things.
Yeah.
Or here, I can show you better.
Okay.
Here's part of one right here.
Oh, all right.
So you can buy these 4 of them with rods that hold them together and make a little bin.
Simple little garden fencing.
Yeah, but you know what's even cheaper?
What?
Is just to buy regular garden fencing.
Okay.
By 10 feet or 20 feet of it, and you can make a circular.
Right. Ocean State Job Lot sells that stuff really cheaply.
Yeah, and what's important is that it be about 3 feet across, 3 feet wide, and 3 feet deep.
All right.
And because ideally you need to get a lot of material together for it to kind of go through the cooking process or the breaking down process.
All right, super.
So what I have in here, so the first step is you need to have something that you can carry it, a bucket, a bowl, anything, and then you bring it outside and you put it in a pile.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
Ooh,
and right now there's snow on it, so I'm afraid it's really hard to look at, but there's a lot of stuff that's been over here over the last few days. Underneath here are a lot of leaves. I'll put leaves or hay in about every week to mix in with the green vegetables. If it's pure green vegetables, it can get kind of soupy and stinky. And if it starts to smell, it's a sign that you don't have enough brown leaves and straw. So mixing these in every once in a while, and you get kind of layers, because as I go down, there's some straw.
Nice.
But if I go down deeper in here, there's layers of stuff that's breaking down. And that used to be vegetables from the kitchen.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Now, it's not nearly done yet, but it's starting to go further toward. Let me reach into this one, because this is the one that I'll put on the garden next year.
Okay. Oh, so you have a 2-part compost bin. Oh my gosh, look at that soil. Wow.
So you asked originally, what is compost?
Yeah.
Well, this is nearly finished compost.
Okay.
So this used to be coffee grounds and coffee filters and banana peels and lettuce and apples and beans. But over the period of 6 months, mixing it in here and stirring it up every month, it gradually breaks down. Now see, here's one of the things I said you try to avoid. That's one of those little stickers. Now that's never going to break down because it's plastic.
Right.
So you try to avoid those.
Okay. So how old is the compost here?
So this compost here was started last spring.
Okay.
So this was all through the spring and the summer.
Okay.
And I will, when it thaws out, put it on my garden.
Fantastic.
So again, what is compost? It's nutritional material that's vegetables recycled into soil.
Okay.
And the soil has 2 things in it. It has minerals that the plants need, like calcium and magnesium and nitrogen, and it has a lot of organic matter, which is what feeds a healthy soil and helps it hold the water well. Like if you just had sand, not a good thing to grow plants in. Drains too fast, doesn't have any fertility. But if you have compost mixed into that sand, or if you have a good soil that has minerals and compost in it, then you've got a nice balance and healthy soil. Now what makes it do that are insects and fungi and bacteria. And those are our friends, and that's what we want to encourage. So we stir it once a month to get lots of air in there. We keep it moist so it doesn't get dried out. On the other hand, you don't want it soggy. And when you have a good compost pile going, it will be warm. In the winter, it can even steam if it's big enough because it makes its own heat. You'll find earthworms in there. And if you find earthworms, that's a good sign.
Yes.
So you're like, yes, that's good.
Yay, worms.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of little bugs and things that crawl around, and they're eating the little bits of food and excreting out more and more broken down food material that eventually is really healthy. And I know you can't smell it through the video, but if you could smell it, it would smell like really nice forest soil. And that's a sign that it's working right.
That's excellent.
So,
that is and that is an easy project. I mean, how long did it take you to build that compost bin?
Well, when I got this, these 4 things, it took me 3 minutes to put them together.
Wow.
You want to do it in a place, it's a little bit out of the way, because sometimes it sort of spills around a bit.
And that's chicken wire, isn't
and
that?
And this is chicken wire
Yeah, that's chicken wire around
And before I had this,
that's cheap too.
There would be bits of my compost in my neighbor's yard and along the side here. So this is a nice improvement. But yeah, it took me an hour to build the whole thing.
And that's
But
nothing.
just to get started, you don't even need to have it fenced in. If you live in the country, you can have a pile.
Right.
The secret is to add to it steadily. Be sure to mix in some leaves or hay periodically.
Okay.
And to turn it every month.
To keep it.
To shovel it up and turn it over so that it keeps aerated.
So as far as the benefits, obviously you're creating healthy soil.
Right.
You are replenishing perhaps, dirt that isn't nutrient rich.
Right.
So and what else? What else can you do?
So those are really good points. You're really improving your soil by adding those essential things that gradually soils lose. Another thing that I feel good about is that there's no waste of food in my household, because everything we don't eat goes in here.
Yeah.
And then I feel really good that it's going to be recycled and used to feed our vegetable garden, or even your lawn. If you don't have a garden, it can just go on the grass or flower beds.
Right.
Some golf courses use compost to feed their golf
great.
Courses.
That's great.
In this country, 40% of the food that we grow is wasted. It goes into the garbage can. 40% of the food we grow in America goes in the garbage can. So this is cutting into that.
Yeah.
This is saying, okay, I'm not going to throw it away and have it go to the landfill. I'm going to recycle it and use it. Now, what happens when it goes to the landfill? It gets into piles that get buried deeper and deeper and deeper and don't get any air and begin to produce not compost, but methane gas, which is one of the most powerful global warming gases there is. So landfilling organic waste adds to the greenhouse effect and climate change. A lot of big cities have made laws that you have to collect your organic waste and put it into special bins, and they compost it. They don't want it in the trash anymore.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we have three streams of trash coming out of here. One is recycled here in my compost. 2 goes in the bin to a recycling center, and 3, whatever's left over goes to the trash.
Okay, so what do you say, if I'm playing devil's advocate now, if composting only recovers 1% of the energy used to produce the food in the first place, like, why should we even bother? What do you say to those people?
So first thing I say is that composting actually reduces the gases that are causing climate change. To me, that's the most important. Secondly, it's reducing waste by using a useful material instead of throwing it away. I'm less concerned about how much energy it makes. I just don't want it to be a waste. And I never buy fertilizer for my gardens. I'm using this to keep my soils healthy.
So another savings.
Yeah. Now, there is a more sophisticated way of composting that some farmers are starting to do, where they take all of their compostable waste and put them into a container that's covered, and it's a complicated stirring and heating process that is designed to produce gases that burn, but then they use it to heat their cow barns or to generate electricity for the farm.
That's fantastic.
And that's not the biggest return on the energy investment, but it's a lot better than throwing the stuff away.
Yeah,
but for
absolutely.
me, it's not about energy as much as it is about not wasting and feeding the earth good, healthy food and recycling.
Great. Last question. Now, you are a professor at SUNY Adirondack.
That's right.
Right.
I am. Yep.
So,
yep.
Can you tell us about the program? I know you're very involved
Yep.
with the organic ag program there.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about
Sure.
what you do in the program?
Yeah, so my teaching is in biology and plant sciences, and we now have an agricultural business program at the college. So it's a 2-year degree that students learn about agriculture and business. Because these days, if people are interested in agriculture, they need to also be good marketing students and have good business skills. And people who do have those skills are making good livings in agriculture, in farming. You know, if your dad or grandpa says, don't go into farming, it's going away, they're not right. Because if you're clever about it, if you know your business skills, and if you understand the way agriculture is going today, you can be very successful. So our program at the college is doing just that. It's about half agriculture and half business, and the other usual college kinds of courses, you know, math and English and those things that go along with that.
And that's a 2-year program.
It's a 2-year program. So you have an AAS degree after 2 years.
Okay.
And then some of our students will go on to other schools for a 4-year degree. They can go right on to Cobleskill, SUNY Cobleskill, where they can finish up with a 4-year degree in agricultural business. Or they can go to work for a farmer and know something about how the whole system works.
So how long has that program been at SUNY Adirondack?
We are just launching it now.
Oh,
it is
no
brand
kidding.
new. We actually approved it at the college more than a year ago, but it had to go to the state for approval through the state Department of Education. So we just got word a month or 2 ago that it's official. So next fall we'll be taking students.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that would be the fall of 2018.
And obviously it's going to be a benefit to the school, but you think it'll grow to be a popular program?
I hope so.
Especially in the area where we live, you know?
But that was the idea,
right.
is that
right.
in Washington County, Warren County, and Saratoga County, there's a lot of agriculture and a lot of people who want to go into diversified agriculture.
Right, and more organic farms too.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
which is great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Well,
and
sure.
good luck. Good luck with the initiative. It's a fantastic idea.
Thanks.
Aren't I lucky to have Tim as my neighbor?